We moved here on February 26, 2009, and we were the first group to move into these apartments. Our old house in the old city was only 20 square meters, very dark and small. With the help of the government, we moved in a bright and bigger house. When the government notified us to move to the new house, I was the first to go to the village committee to sign my name. We were not forced to move, but I loved the idea of moving because my old house was so small and dark. The new house has a total area of 48 square meters with electricity, water, heating system, bathroom, and kitchen. Our move to the new home was painless and trouble-free, and we paid nothing. All of our costs were covered. We only need to pay the gas and electricity bill now. It is very convenient to cook, and the heating system is very good. We used to cook or heat the room by burning coal. Now we have gas and many less problems than before.
The government realized that when moving me to the new apartments, there would be a problem because of my kilns. They were built into my old home and they could not be moved to the modern flat. They agreed that if I cannot make pottery, I cannot feed my family. So, in order to move, the government decided they would help find a workshop where I can make pottery and continue to conduct my business. I told them I could not afford to pay for a home and a shop, and they told me it was no problem because all costs would be covered until they moved me back into the rebuilt home in the old city quarter.
Before, my home was very old and very poor and not even suitable to live in. The government gave me a new flat with 50 square meters. My old home was only 35 square meters. I'm very thankful to the government. My new home is so bright. I feel so comfortable. I'm very happy with this government plan.
With the danger of a major earthquake or disaster ever present, the government is hoping to lessen the impact of a major event such as a large earthquake, saving hundreds of thousands of lives and the unique culture of Kashgar.
We try to keep the original style of the Uyghur traditional design, from the adobe structure to the steel frame building. Our government does such a great job for the people. If we do not reinforce them, the houses will absolutely come crashing down. The foundation is so poor, and some don't even have a foundation. You know, when we started the rebuilding, some of the houses were crumbling and even falling down. Right now, we are keeping the original style and strengthening the foundation and making sure it can stand up to an 8.5 magnitude quake. The buildings are very high quality, and the steel used is the same as the steel used to construct the much larger modern houses. We do not receive great financial benefits from this process, but we are doing great things for the people and for the government. Look here, these people, they just did not want to have their house rebuilt in the beginning. But now they are sorry, they refuse, and now they come back every couple of days asking us to rebuild the house because they know the house is so weak, it won't withstand anything.
But still, we have some residents who don't want to have their houses rebuilt because they can't figure out how good or bad the reconstruction is. They just don't want to rebuild the house. Their belief is that in the event of a disaster, and even though they might be crushed by their house collapsing, their conviction is that this is the will of Allah. According to experts, new buildings in the community are able to resist at least a magnitude 8 earthquake.
With a solution available, can the government convince the people of Kashgar that reconstruction should not be an option?
It is possible to build structures that will withstand just about any earthquake. And if you have landsliding, you can't really mitigate that if a whole hillside's going to give way. That's not really something we can deal with except to avoid the landslide-prone areas. But short of that, if a structure is going to be shaken, it can be engineered and built well enough to withstand almost any earthquake.
This is Sawar Haji's home. Officers of this community came several times to persuade him to rebuild his old home. However, he disagreed because of the long history of this house. His family has lived there for many generations. This house partially collapsed 4 or 5 months ago. We have come here 4 or 5 times to persuade them to rebuild a new one, but they still reject our plan because of its long history. They continue to live in the part which has not collapsed yet. The family here is very poor and cannot afford the cost to repair the collapsed portion of the property. The government understands their economic situation and stepped in and offered new construction of a 300 square meter home, including all decorative exterior design and, of course, a reinforced roof. However, they still refused. In the beginning, some of my neighbors were skeptical and disagreed to move to temporary housing. But after we were all shown how some of the buildings were fragile and crumbling, they decided moving out to allow rebuilding was the right thing to do because their old homes were so dangerous. The government paid all of their rent for their temporary residency while their home was being rebuilt. I think it is rare to find a project of such grand scale where a government takes on the burden to pay for the welfare of the people while reconstructing the entire community.
They are very poor and even have no money to repair the collapsed portion. The government knows their economic situation and told them if they want, the government would like to rebuild a 300 square meters new home for them, including all decorations and the roof, but still they refused.
My husband died in 2005. I was living with my son. I told him, let's continue to make pottery. My son said he was afraid we could not make it as good as his father. I encouraged him. What I don't know, you know. And what you don't know, I know. So let's do it. Finally, we proceeded. I designed the patterns for all the pottery that we make, and then my son puts the pottery into the kiln. Of course, it's dangerous. We don't like to stay in the dangerous home also. We want to repair it, but unfortunately, we don't have enough money. The government said, stay here now and we will reconstruct your home, or maybe buy your dangerous home and let you move out to a flat.
Well, our guideline is to put the people's interest first. People come first. We are to improve and protect our old city. So the central government made the decision to fully address the problems of the residents of Kashgar City and the other underdeveloped areas in Xinjiang. The residents have lived in such a poor condition for such a long time. No tap water, no sewer, no gas. There is a saying in the old city that goes, sewage waste is removed by evaporation, and the garbage is picked up by the wind. And water comes from the rain dripping down the outer wall. After reconstruction, the residents enjoy all the benefits of the new buildings and live in a much better condition.
Chinese culture, Western culture, and Uyghur culture make up the three essential parts of the civilization in this area. We cannot separate any one of these. Without the Uyghurs, the Chinese civilization is not complete. Without the Chinese, the Uyghur civilization could not exist here.
In any area where you need to make big improvements in resilience, it's a race against time to get things ready for an earthquake that could happen anytime.
The Uyghur Muslims in the old city of Kashgar have enjoyed a simple, peaceful lifestyle for centuries. Change doesn't come easily for anyone, and the central government is sensitive to the wishes of the people to continue living and working in the manner they have always known. The ultimate test of their plan will only be realized after the inevitable large-scale earthquake strikes. Only then will the residents truly appreciate the government's attempt to protect Kashgar.